Hi, Josée here. Let's talk about SEFI dots. What are SEFI dots first? They are amazing. What these are basically, in a box, you have 60 of those. What they are is micro discs that are completely programmable. They're essentially frequency patches where you can imprint the frequencies of your choice. And at the moment of recording this, there's a library of 1250 frequencies that you can choose from and imprint one or more, whatever you decide. And I'm going to show you how to actually use them. So what you need to do is first you need to cut out however many you intend to imprint. In this case, I am going to just imprint one. So I have cut out one. You make sure to leave the backing for now. We're going to remove this later. And then you're going to go in your SEFI program in the EOScan, of course. And from there, you could imprint any frequencies of your choice, but there's a special category that is just for SEFI dots. So let's look at that. You're not limited by that category, but that category was developed especially for SEFI dots. So in that category, there are 12 different blend of frequencies. It's a proprietary blend created by Solex. Each for a specific purpose, like allergy defense, arthritis, cellular restore, and there's like 12 of them. You could scan yourself to see what your body is asking for, and that's what I'll do. And my body wants more energy endurance. Okay, so that's what I'm going to imprint, but I could imprint anything else that I want. Just make sure that you imprint frequencies that are compatible. Most frequencies are compatible, but beware of things like sleep and energy. You would not want to put those two opposite frequencies at the same time, but almost anything can be mixed, so don't worry about that. One thing that's special about the SEFI dot category is that the program will tell you which placement that is recommended for that particular frequency. Because I have energy endurance, those are the recommended placements. If I picked another one, let's say I pick pain, you're going to see like a different placements that are suggested. So the placement depends on the frequency that you picked or that the scan came up with. So you can follow this, but you don't have to. And there are certain like default locations that you could pick if you're not sure. Maybe it's because you don't feel like using one of those. Like I could show you an example of maybe something you may not want to do, like put one right underneath your nose. It's suggested, but maybe that's not your cup of tea. You don't feel like doing that. So there are other points that you could use as default. One of those defaults is called the Shen Min, and it's located at the base at the base of your wrist. Well, you go down the pinky, and where it meets the wrist and where it bends, that is the Shen Min point. And that is a default location that you could use. Another one is the sternum. And the third location that is considered a default location is right underneath your foot in the middle. Okay, so let's imprint now. The first thing you want to do, and that applies to anything you imprint, is always to first erase. And there's an erase button right here. You simply place it on your device and for just a few seconds until it's done erasing. And next, you imprint. So you're going to do this for every single frequency that you want to imprint. So let's go check what else we can imprint. So in the SEFI module, you could imprint just about anything that's in the library. The only thing that you cannot imprint is the AO tune frequencies. Everything else you could imprint. You could imprint, go select each frequency one at a time. Let's say I would want to also have breathe free on my SEFI dot on top of what I've already imprinted. I just place it again and then go and hit imprint. And I do that for every single frequency that I want to imprint. But what I could also do is imprint an entire SEFI playlist. Sometimes people think they cannot imprint a SEFI playlist because they don't see that fractal amplifier in the SEFI in the custom playlist window. But you totally can. All you need to do is place the SEFI dot, and that applies to anything else you'd want to imprint. You place it on the list. Usually that's where the fractal amplifier would be. Instead, you place your target object, in this case a SEFI dot, on the playlist, and then you hit 20-second imprint. I personally like to choose simultaneous for this, and I'm done in 20 seconds. But some people prefer to imprint one frequency at a time. There's different opinions on this. You can make up your own. So yeah, that's how you imprint. So now the next step will be to place our Sephi dot on our body. Okay, so I'm going to place my Sephi dot on my chosen location, which is the Shenman point that I've chosen. And before I do so, I want to show you something that I haven't talked about yet, is the underneath of the Sephi dot, there is an aluminum layer. And the purpose of this, well, first of all, it protects the frequencies that you place. It also holds the frequency very well, but it's also a great amplifier for the frequencies. That sets Sephi dots apart from, let's say, if I was to wear a bracelet and imprint my bracelet, you could say, like, why should I use a Sephi dot? I can use, I can imprint my bracelet. It's going to be right at the same location. And yeah, you can totally do that. But that is what sets the Sephi dots apart, that layer that will amplify the frequencies, but also the fact that you could place it wherever you want on your body. But the thing is, once you place it on your body, it's going to start to wear off. And it takes about 3 days for it to start to be compromised, let's say. And so that is the reason why we are supposed to discard them after 3 days. But there is a way that you can make them last longer. And I'll put it back here for a moment because I'm going to do an extra step. You don't have to do that step, but if you would like to make your Sephi dot last longer, then that's the way to do it. You place an adhesive on your skin first. Then you place the Sephi dot on top, and then another adhesive to keep it in place. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. And this takes me to the point of talking about how to make that process easier. You see that there's the blue backing, well, the top actually. If you fold it first like this, it's going to make it much easier after to remove that. Okay, so you place on your body. Well, I forgot to remove this part. Place it at the chosen location. Okay, here. And then, well, I'm not placing it. Then it's easy to remove that layer of blue. And so that's the layer that I'm placing directly on my body. That will serve as a barrier between my skin and the aluminum, and it will do two things. It will prevent my body from absorbing any of the aluminum, and trust me, it happens. My first Sephi dots, before I knew better, I kept it so long that all the aluminum was gone and it was all absorbed by my body. And then it led me at some point in my life, I learned about it to experiment. And my experiments showed that it's about after 3 days that it starts happening. And then between 3 to 7 days, at 7 days, it's almost all gone. So, and when I do it this way, where I place the Sephi dot on top of, you just place it here. When I do it this way, I could leave it there for 7 days, remove it, and the aluminum is completely 100% intact. I still remove it after 7 days because I want my skin to breathe. But 7 days is more than twice the amount of time that it would last otherwise. So if you just don't want to use it 3 days, forget about this initial step. So now that I have my dot here, all I need to put is an adhesive on top. It's just the same way that I've already shown you. Place it here. Make sure that it's... Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention, it's really important to make sure that your skin is clean and dry. You especially don't want to have oily skin when you place a Sephi dot, otherwise it's not going to stay there. So now I could leave it, because I have my double layer, I could leave it for a full week, but otherwise you want to remove it after 3 days. Now that I decided I'm going to keep it longer than 3 days, I have to make sure to re-imprint my dot after 3 days. So you have to re-imprint either because it's been 3 days, because that's how long it's going to keep the frequencies. It's about 3 days. Or if you want to change the frequencies, let's say I put energetic balance in mine, but I don't want that when I'm sleeping. When I'm sleeping, I'd rather have sleep frequencies. All I need to do is erase, and you can do that even when you have it on your body. You just go in your Sephi and the erase button. All I need to do is just place it near my body. It's fine if it doesn't touch. It's going to erase. And I do the same when I imprint. When I want to imprint, I just place my, wherever it is on my body, near the screen, and hit imprint. So this way you could change it up. You don't have to keep the same frequencies for the entire time that you're going to wear them. So before wrapping up, I just wanted to go over some of the most common questions that I hear about Sephi dots. One of them is, can I use Sephi dots on pets? And well, unless you have a hairless animal where you could like place the dot on their body, the best way with animals is to place the Sephi dot on their collar, or if they have a tag, on the tag. Another common question is, do I need to be in the person's profile to imprint before I imprint Sephi dot for that person? And the answer is no. When you imprint a Sephi dot, the target of the frequencies is the dot, because that's what you put on the screen, and when you hit an imprint. So it has nothing to do with whatever profile you're in. But if you want to scan to see what frequency the body is asking for, then yes, then you would need to be in that person's profile to scan them. But that's the only time where you need to be in that person's. Another common question is how to ship Sephi dots, or is it even possible to ship Sephi dots like by mail to someone? It's possible, but you cannot just place them like that in an envelope, because they will lose their, well, it's more like they will be exposed to other frequencies and go through the mail system, and it's going to interfere with the frequencies you've imprinted. And that applies to anything you want to ship that's imprinted, whether it's a bracelet or whatever else. So a good protection for frequencies is tin foil. So Solex sells foil bags, and it's called a Sephi dot sharing kits. And it comes with, I think it's 30, if I'm not mistaken, 30 bags. And then there's a little card also to send along with the Sephi dots with some instructions for the person. So these are sold for that very purpose, for when you want to mail Sephi dots to someone. But you could also create something of your own that's going to do the same, like serve the same purpose. And I'll share, I don't know if it's here or in there that I'm going to be sharing, but I'll share a picture of a product that you could also purchase. You can get that on Amazon, but I'm sure there's other places. Basically, it's a bag that's sealable that has foil on the inside. So you could buy them like in larger quantities and probably at a cheaper price as well. So yeah, I think that covers everything I wanted to say about Sephi dots. If you have any other questions that I did not cover, feel free to ask in the comment.